Cool. Right. Thanks all. Hey, Anka. So I think we are a minute or two past the hour. Like all of the invites and content for this was said, this is the demo day for the successful winners and those who placed for both the AI agent track and the kind of other, which was mainly the content credentials track. I think before we get started, a huge thanks to just see Omar coming through. Huge thanks to everyone else, everyone who submitted, even kind of, and I guess better luck next time. And kind of again a big thank you to those who did submit but unfortunately weren't successful. And like I was saying, we'll spend today focusing on those who did win. And I think the final thing before some quick thoughts from Manka was, I think both of us, or certainly I, came into this hackathon expecting some good submissions, some nice surprises, but I don't think we were expecting such a high standard as what we received, and kind of some of the innovation that we've seen was really incredible and really caught me off guard, certainly. So yeah, Anka, I don't know if any thoughts from yourself before we kick off.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to quickly introduce what the hackathon was about and the track?
Good point.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So we had the Verifiable AI Hackathon that has been taking place over the last sort of 2 to 3 months. We had 2 particular tracks on this. I think one was to look at the intersection of decentralized identity and AI agents and how decentralized ID technology could be applied to that. The other track was very sort of creatively named Other, but within that we were looking at examples like how can people use content credentials. So these are credentials that follow along with any pieces of data that you have. I will need to step away real quickly as somebody is ringing the doorbell, but could you maybe do the quick intro and then I'll be back as soon as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like I was saying, we had 2 tracks. One very much the crossover between like decentralized ID, trust, and agents. Really looking at that broadly. We've put out a lot of content around verified AI, building trust in for agents, regardless of what their focus is. And then again, repeating Anka's message of the other track was much more focused on content credentials, but also data marketplaces, all this kind of stuff. So without further ado, the way that we'll go through the agenda is first start off with the agentic economy and AI agents. So going kind of working up from third to first, and then we'll go on to 5 minutes of questions. We'll take those in from the various channels, and they can be whether for ourselves, the process, or hopefully the winners. Then we'll move on to content credentials and others. So again, going kind of third through to first. We've again got 5 minutes of questions there for anyone who does have them. And finally, we need to touch on the Verida bounty and the honourable mention as well, who are fantastic. And then finally on to closing words. And I think throughout, unfortunately, I think the majority have made it, but we are aware of a couple of the winners who haven't. So unfortunately, you'll be stuck with myself or Anka to kind of take us through the demos where we don't have the attendees, because whilst they weren't able to attend, we do want to make sure that the videos and the content that they put together is kind of visible, and we'll do our best to answer questions wherever we can. So without further ado, I believe it's over to Scott at Snails. Eduardo, take it away.
Okay, can you see my screen?
We cannot. Well, I can't.
Okay, sorry, I don't think Scott is. I don't think Scott is still in the room. There are some names which unfortunately we don't know, just because some people opted to be anonymous. So I'll try to get their video on screen. Just 1 second.
Cool, fantastic. Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, Snails are one of our long-time community members and contributors, and fantastic team who have built effectively almost an education platform, including a Telegram bot that assesses or can check for people's knowledge, but also can kind of provide credentials to people who fulfill those education journeys, and build that into an overall offering to really demonstrate the power of combining credentials with AI and agents in a way that's really easy. And credit to them, they demo was extremely powerful, and were really impressive. So I'm just going to see if I can bring up their video, because I think Eduardo's having issues in the background, and then we'll see if we can get that going and demonstrated. So let me just make sure I've got this downloaded, and then I'll bring this up on my screen at this end. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Eduardo, I'm going to try and share my screen, and you tell me if this doesn't work. Oh.
I can see that, yeah. I don't think there's any audio coming through, but I can definitely see it.
Okay, sounds like there were issues with the audio. Also share tab audio. Okay, so it's only going to do it if I. Okay, I can only do this if I share a tab. So unfortunately, it looks like just double check and see if there's any other way around this. Open file. See if I can do this via Chrome.
I think if you play the video and describe it through, I think that might be what you have to do just for this one, because it's not published on YouTube.
Okay, I think I may have found a way around this. We will give this a second attempt. And then someone messaged me in the background to let me know.
Turns to rhyme. Dale likes the way steady and true. Decrypt the dark, begin anew. Through every chain we learn and grow. Snails move slow, but the wisdom flows. Cosmic dust in every shell. From the depths we rise and swell. We're the snails, slow but slick. Cracking codes with every tick. Through the stars we stake our claim. Knowledge burns like cosmic flame. Step by step, change the game. Never stop, we're interchanged. Pixel by pixel, cracking codes with every tick. Through the stars we stake our claim. Knowledge burns like cosmic flame. Step by step, change the game. Never stop, we're interchanged. Slide down the comet's tail, Dale the snail. Slide down the comet's tail with
Okay, so coming back, yeah, obviously the video itself is 5 minutes long. Unfortunately, like Anka said, not posted to YouTube, which is why getting this up in the background has been a bit of a challenge. But hopefully everyone kind of got the gist for what was actually built out, the various different various different elements, from trust elements for AI agents, but also the kind of issuing verifiable credentials at the end of learning journeys as well. So I believe the next, just for those who aren't aware, Snails came in third. And the next one was...
What I found particularly interesting on this one is they had the integration with Telegram. There was Telegram commands that you can interact with. I think that's always quite hard to do. And I think at a technical level, what was quite challenging is using like, open source tools to extract content from any video and turning those into DID linked resources so that there's a verifiable history of those videos that might have been used in the community's journey. It also had, I think, integration with IPFS and another Cosmos network called Jackal, which I think was interesting to look at. But I think it's a very interesting sort of complement to what we were looking at in creds.xyz, like, how you can have the link resources and other sort of like, mechanisms through which you can create like DIDs and DID link resources related to community content.
That's a really good point. Yeah, and I think, like you were saying, fits really well with kind of the original vision for Creds and how that was being used. So I've now in the background got the Kith video up. So for those that aren't aware, Kith was here we go. So I'll keep this on mute. But Kith were very much focused on the AI agent passport and building trust in for AI agents. So as you can see, all of this is local hosted, so unfortunately not something you can directly play with. But what was very impressive was really the vision that connected through to what we believe kind of trust for AI agents looks like. So here what's happening is a registration of an agent. You've obviously got just dummy values being entered in here. So I'll just skip a little bit further ahead. So selecting images, you've got just a quick logo, but you've also got, I think, various other elements like if I scroll back here, you're kind of mentioning who the organization is, and I believe there are also elements where you could enter kind of what model was being used, all this kind of stuff. As you can see here, again, you can see entering agent capabilities. I believe at this point we've already created the decentralized identifier for the agent itself. You can see the user now uploading, the model card, supporting information. But what's fantastic is then you kind of see this summary, and you can also see the agent itself being registered onto the check testnet and pending verification. So I think, again, like what we were very impressed with here was the concept and the design really aligned very, very well with aligned very, very well with what our vision of this would be. And I think what if we kind of skip on again, this is then you're having someone or an auditor look at the agents, and then they're issuing different credentials depending on what that assessment is. So skipping on again, you can then, for an agent, see the credentials that they have. And what we also, I'll defer over to Anchor at the end, but what we're also kind of impressed with was that a lot of this was actually built out. So this isn't smoke and mirrors; it really does exist. And then if I skip on, some of the other parts that were quite impressive as well was the ability for a platform or a platform or a marketplace to adjust the different kind of weightings and criteria that feed into that overall score. So we're really, really impressed by just how much thought had gone into this, how much it aligned with what we were, our vision of this, and as well, just how much had been built out and how much had been developed. So yeah, unfortunately, Kith couldn't make it, I think due to illness, but their build was fantastic, and I think our hope is that it's going to be taken forwards and actually actively developed, which would be really, really cool to see. So I'll stop sharing, and yeah, I'd love to hear Anchor's thoughts as well before we kick on to our actual winner.
Yeah, super simple one. I think I really appreciated, how structured the schemas they created were for the credentials that are issued on behalf of agents, and how much richness of information it was capturing. Just in general, they had really good documentation. I think the actual execution of how it was integrating with Check Network was done with Check Studio. So that, I think, was fantastic to see in sort of practice. And I think also a very good sort of UX and experience when you go through it. What do you see in the demo video on screen?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I think this was one of the ones I was very, very nicely surprised by. I thought someone would do some agent trust hacky demo thing, but I didn't expect it to look this polished. So without further ado, hopefully Omer from Hovey is with us, who built out Ident One. And so, yeah, congratulations to Omer, who obviously we've worked with Hovey for a while, but when I saw your video, blown away. To the point where I think I was looking at them on the Friday and put out just a tweet. I was like, I can't say who this is, but I've really been blown away by one of these submissions. So yeah, Omer, congratulations. It was, fantastic. Real breath of fresh air. And Anchor, I don't know if you've got any final comments before we kind of let Omer away with demonstrating Ident One or Identone. And yeah. Oh, Omer, I don't think
I'm happy to add it afterwards. I think I'm curious to hear Omer talk about it.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate all the words and the praises around it. We wanted to build something that actually made sense given the current technologies that are available to us. Particularly, if you look at all the AI agents that are available at hand right now, they can actually do this kind of stuff, that they can make calls on your behalf for sales or for handling customer support or whatnot. And one of the major things that we were thinking that, okay, somebody could really spoof a phone number using caller ID and call you and try to, maybe defake your mother's voice and try to scam money out of you. Or maybe it could be your bank calling you and telling you that, hey, you need to provide us with your bank credentials and password, or else your all accounts are frozen in next 10 minutes and you need to really act on it. So how do you make these AI interactions trustful between humans and AI agents? That was the crux of what we wanted to do, and we did it with our little project here. And maybe we could just see a live demo right now and see how it works in action for everybody who has or hasn't seen it. All right. So can you guys see my screen?
Yep. You can see a screen.
All right. So it starts with a mobile application. This on the right side of my screen, you see my phone, which is actually connected to my computer right now. So if I tap on this VAI dialer, this is a specific mobile app we built to just with the integrated capabilities of a wallet that allows anyone to like accept connections and submit proof requests over the DID network using the check DID. So, but this was just like the top part of it. The idea behind this mobile app has been that when somebody calls you, the phone itself has the ability to automatically initiate a proof request so that it could verify who's calling you. And to be honest, you kind of don't need the dialer app. You could do it with a completely different app as well, because Android phones actually allow you to tap into the phone's feed as well, that if the call is incoming or not. Anyhow, so and then for this particular demo, I will be showing you the Hovi wallet as well, which we will use to put all the credentials in and verify ourselves. We will be seeing two things. One, a bank AI agent is going to call me, and before I even pick up the call, I will be able to verify if this bank agent is actually owned by my bank and I can trust it. And secondly, during the live call, the AI agent will use Hovi APIs to actually and did checked linked resources to verify that if I am actually an account holder for the bank, so that it's not my brother or somebody else who have access to my phone picking up the call. So I've already downloaded the app just like I showed you. As a first step, what we need is an account holder credential, which I can receive by scanning this QR code. So if I open my wallet and scan this QR code, this identity, which is generated for this particular demo with this IBAN number and this social security number, I will be given a credential. Second, I think my screen, yes, there we are. So the moment I scan the QR code, I receive a credential offer with all the information about my account ownership, like the IBAN number and the social security number. I accept it, and it becomes part of my wallet. I can later use this credential to prove that I am actually an account holder, and my name is Antonia. Oh, let's go with that. Let's close this wallet. I'll put my phone number here. I guess that's fine. And when I put this number in, I will receive a call from an AI agent. And before even I pick up the call, I will be able to verify if it's a trustful AI agent using DID checked linked resources. And during the call, the AI agent will also verify me. We'll see the whole thing. The screen is getting updated a bit late on the computer. Let's pick up the call.
Maria calling from Acme Financial Group. Just wanted to let you know about an exciting new discount we're offering on home loans for first-time homeowners. Would you be interested in hearing more about it?
Yes, please tell me more.
Awesome, glad you're interested. So, we're offering a special reduced interest rate for folks buying their first home. It's one of the best rates we've had in a while. It's a limited time offer that's helped a lot of people get into their first home. Do you have any questions about it, or would you like to explore this opportunity further?
I'd like to explore it.
I am sending you a proof request to verify your account ownership. Could you please validate that? I'll wait while you do that.
Sure. So now I go to my wallet and proof.
Great, thanks for that, Antonia. We'll get this over to our loan team, and they'll reach out with more details soon. If you think of any questions in the meantime, feel free to give us a shout. All right, appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. All right, we saw two things. One, when the call came, I was able to verify the AI agent calling me using the did checked and the linked resources created by over the check test network. And then while the call was active, the AI agent basically sent me a proof request, and I was able to use my wallet to submit a proof, which the moment he got that information out of me, it started to address me as that person. I don't know if you noticed, he started to use my name. And that's it. This is how you create a bi-directional digital trust between a person and an AI agent interaction.
I think that's what we
questions?
loved about it. It's such a product level, idea that's, pretty much there. And I think a problem that will only become more and more challenging for people to navigate over the next few years, as the cost of creating those realistic sounding deepfakes of your loved ones, or realistic sounding deepfakes of somebody calling from a bank, just become easier and easier to generate. What was the inspiration behind building this hack? Any
It is very interesting. There's this one startup in Finland, let's name it. They are working in the telecom industry. And I was just one day, like February earlier this year, I got this idea that since, I think I saw some demo of, I think, ChatGPT, like OpenAI or Google, that they created this very realistic voice, and it's being used to book an appointment for a hairdresser or something. It was a Google demo, I think. And I saw that, and I instantly sent the message to the founder that, hey, you should incorporate like some sort of verifiability into these, because it's not just agents, like it's just not just people now calling you nowadays, it's also like AI agents, but we kind of don't know if it's like a human calling you or an AI agent. And even worse is that, let's say if you get a call from if you get a call from a source that you want to trust, but you can't, let's say a bank, how do you validate? Because what we want to do is that we want to technically make AI agent adoption much more smoother and safer. And this is the kind of tech that can actually make it happen. Like, for example, using check ledger and did check can really actually, I don't see any other way it is possible to do it unless you do it in a silo in your own little world. If you want to make it like open standard based, this is how you do it. Anyhow, we talked, and they I think they were not interested in the idea at that moment, but it stayed with me for a while. And when we saw you guys posted that you're doing the hackathon, I was like, we have to do it. So I asked some of my team members if they're interested in participating, and I told them the idea, and they were immediately on board. And and then we are here.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations again. Yeah, it was really, really blown away at all levels, like from the tech, like the actual everything working and everything built out, to just how polished everything was, including the video, the documentation. So a huge congratulations again. Unfortunately, we need to move on. But Omar, thank you for coming, and yeah, really appreciate it. And congratulations again. Thanks. Speak soon. Cool. So we had, I think, 5 minutes available for questions. We're keeping an eye out on all channels, but currently we haven't seen any questions come in. Seen some good engagement in terms of people being impressed, but nothing in terms of an actual question that we need to directly address. So without further ado, we'll move on to the kind of others, which was mainly content credentials and data marketplaces. And I believe the first person or first team was handing over to is Credible, who I think is on here as well. So yeah, hopefully, Eduardo, you can bring Credible in, and looking forward to seeing what they built. Especially, this is another one of the ones where really, really impressed by the thought that had come through. Okay. Cool. Oh, sorry. can see some questions that have suddenly come in all of a sudden. So, Eduardo, while I can see you typing in the background. So a couple of questions. One was on LinkedIn, just saying really, really proud to be part of the team, which is fantastic to see. And the question from Luke around any phone providers that Chex has communicated with. Good question. So not directly, but this is a really good kind of one of the follow-up chats we want to have with Omer is who can we work with or who can we introduce them to go and take this further? And that's the same for everyone involved. Who can we go and bring them in front of? Because I think the ideas are fantastic. The execution was incredible. So, and it is, to Anchor's point, it is very, like, it is a product. Like, it's not just hanging together. Like, there was a whole that it's been thought about really, really well. So the next stage really with Omer and the Hovi team is, how do we go make the most of this and go make it successful? So I can't see any other questions coming up, but oh yeah, we've got one more question. So this is coming. So Frightened One, can he elaborate on how abstracted the technology is? Do I need to have a wallet to use the products as a user? So I think if you ping that question on Twitter and maybe tag Omer, he'd be able to answer directly. But unfortunately, we kind of need to move on. So I'll give a quick answer and then we'll unfortunately have to skip over. But right now, the demo obviously is using a wallet. But I think the intention going forward would be whoever your, say, mobile phone provider is or mobile phone plan provider is, embeds a wallet inside their application, or maybe your bank embeds a wallet inside their application, and therefore you just use that to authenticate. So in theory, that's how that would work out. Right now, it assumes that there is a wallet. The future state would be that wallet is already built into something you already have access to. So unfortunately, yeah, again, we need to kind of get back to time. So Eduardo, assuming that Credible is somewhere in the waiting area, please feel free to bring them through. I'm really looking forward to seeing them present. So I'll shut up and hand over to Credible.
All right, good day. You guys can hear me?
We can.
Yes, we can.
All right, let me share my screen here. All right, do we have an active screen share?
You do.
All right, I'm representing Credible. We're building the credible web with Chex. To define a credible is a unit of verifiable credential that is owned by a decentralized ID with composable trust and verification. It uses CheckD as well as AI to verify the credibility of content and track the origins of data. I'm going to be demoing the web browser extension as the primary interface for this system. Under the hood, there is an API that the extension communicates with that uses AI for verifications and IPFS for content storage. And the AI also enables AI agents and other applications to communicate directly with it. Okay, so the web browser extension, there's a release. You can play with it now. It works on Chrome-based browsers, Edge, etc., Firefox. We're aiming for broad compatibility there. When you install it, you get a little pop-up up here, standard kind of interface, and I'm quite a fan of the side panel here. All right, so the extension, one of the first things it labels you to do is create and manage a decentralized identifier. So I've done that here. Here's my identifier. And then I am able to create content credentials. And so any content will work. It's stored to IPFS, so it could be files. It could be different size data. When you create it, you get issued a verifiable credential that you own it. Now, the next thing that you can do with this optionally is verify context. So let's just make up a case. Meeps are blue. Okay, I'm going to issue a credential on that. Here we go. I have an issue. Now, I can access that content. I'm using aliases for more human-friendly access to that. All right, let's say meeps are green. Now, in order to get an issued credibility unit, it needs to pass the contradiction inspector. Oh, nope, it failed. It said that it contradicted the context that I supplied it, so I do not get a credible unit there. Therein lies the mojo. The context could be quite extensive, and it is recursive. All right, let's move on to a basic demo. There's broad use cases for what this can do. I created this demo to just kind of show what happens here. And whenever you use the extension and browse the web, when it comes across credentials, it will evaluate their verification status and show a little icon, whether it's validated or not. They show up over on the panel here. You can see the content, get more information. There's a couple ways to embed them in the website. This one's really slick to use HTML attributes right here because you can encapsulate the content. You can also just plunk it in. So you put a tweet, you could issue credible for it and paste it in your tweet there, and therefore making it verifiable. These are some basic examples: tweet, long form, blog. This could extend all the way up to journals, academic papers, news articles. I'm especially motivated by tracking and facilitating misinformation across news sources. Okay, so a more advanced demo, I call this one Provenance. It illustrates the recursive nature of them. I made this up as an example. This could even be an application. It's just showing multiple layers. I don't want to imply that this is how it's supposed to be with facts analysis strategy. This is just an example. It's quite open in what it could do. But what this example shows is building credible units out of facts as a foundational level. I did verify these, by the way. I looked them up. There are sources that say this is true. Climate data, some renewable energy stats, text adoption rates. These are all credibles that show up over here. Then as another layer, one might build a little analysis. Building this one, for example, referenced two other credibles. So it built on the facts. And here they are listed in here. Those were its context. And then it created a new credential based on that. And it passed the inspection of credibility. It did not contradict those facts. It is in line with truth for verifiability. Bing, you get a little check mark saying that it's credible. Similar, here's a market analysis trend that did a similar thing. Moving on to strategy, it just continues to build. And so building upon the previous two of analysis, there's the recursive context, and it goes ad infinitum. It could go forever. It would be interesting to see what the display would do here. So these are small, contrived examples. It could be large data. Right now, I'm really focused on 0 and 1 for credibility, but it's quite extensive in terms of temperature check, etc. Key benefits: composable trust and verification, AI-powered verification. It could scale with this system. I'm also looking at ways to distribute verification with Eigenlayer AVS. Full provenance from beginning to end. As we let this data free out into the world, you could track it. So, I mean, the era of AI is great with data generation and synthesis, both humans and AI generating content, and we seek to answer verifiability. Is it credible? Thanks.
Because for context, when we were kind of watching it through, I think the idea is so powerful that to some degree it's a little bit difficult on the first pass to understand like how it works, or not necessarily how it works, but like the actual power of what it can do in terms of that kind of recursive text and the referencing and the potential to discover credentials embedded in websites was very, very smart. So yeah, for me, this really stood out in terms of the power to track content, but also the power to potentially track kind of misinformation. So yeah, Anko, any thoughts before we get on to number 2?
The only thing I would add is I particularly found the analysis that is used to check if the claim contradicts, the claim is consistent with what is being presented, or if it contradicts, or if it's insufficient. I thought that was quite interesting.
Cool. Okay, so without further ado, unfortunately, the next one is another who couldn't attend due to illness. So again, you'll be stuck with my attempt at explaining kind of what this is. But this is Trusty Bytes, who I'll start playing. Again, we'll keep this muted and just kind of talk it through. But the focus here is, again, Trusty Bytes' submission to the Verified AI Hackathon was around how can you check if an agent is working on data that is verified? How do you know what it's been trained on, what it's using? So the way that, if I kind of skip through the video, so the use case that Trusty Bytes was focusing on is if you are, let's say, a trader or general kind of member of the crypto community, how can you know if an agent is, especially a trading agent, is trained on the right data? How do you know if it's malicious? How do you know if it's been trained on, say, false data so that it executes incorrectly and therefore you get stung? So what it's focusing on here is there's data providers on the left-hand side. You then have the UI app provided by Trusty Bytes, and under the hood are working with Checked to provide credentials for AI agents. So if we kind of skip through, there's a brief explanation of what this is doing. He uses MetaMask to sign into the application itself because it's focusing on trading, and he's looking as an agent for data sources that he can go and leverage. So examples, there's candles, if I just skip this back, and also sentiment. So the ability to go in and pay for these. So again, you can see that kind of data marketplace. And you can also see, obviously in here, you can see the data, but that wouldn't necessarily be the case all the time. What he then shows is you've got a mix of the candles and the sentiment that the agent has now purchased and owns. But what's really fantastic is this then is I believe this is an actual credential which illustrates what data was purchased at what time. Again, you can see created, what price was related to, and who it was issued or who it was issued by. And like you can see here, then you've got all of that data in the credential itself, issued against our testnet. And there's obviously terms of use and additional schemas underneath this as well. And what this means is you can then have the agent illustrate that credential to other users. So if we go through to this kind of latter part of the demo, he's using an MCP, Model Context Protocol server by Anthropic that we've developed and deployed as well. And then he's using kind of GitHub's Copilot to go and access that as well. And ultimately what this is then going and fetching is the application itself, but ultimately there's the data and that it's kind of running on. And the final part is that, listed for sale. So then it's able to kind of run on that data, illustrate it, but also kind of here we go. You can also see where the data has come from and make sure it's actually trustworthy, which is really, really cool to see. So everything has kind of been built in together and then illustrated on the left-hand side. And then just as a recap, so I think, and our hope is that this is developed further. So looking into more data set types, seller and buyer agents issuing these credentials, and kind of really going further. So one of the reasons we were very, very impressed by this before I kind of get anchor thoughts were a very nice mix of a novel problem in terms of data marketplaces and how they can be made trustworthy for agents, but also then allowing agents to demonstrate where they've received data from, what they're running on, and are they trustworthy as a result. And then one thing that stood out here as well is they made good use of trust registries. So the ability to actually have a hierarchy, and used our work with Train as well. So yeah, like you can see the decentralized identifier, the trust network, the trust framework, all the way down. So it was a very, very good implementation here in terms of tech under the hood as well. So before we hand over to the final winner, yeah, Anka, any thoughts from yourself?
I was just going to mention the work that we have done with Train as well and how this integrated it in. I think the implication of it is it allows the system to work in a hybrid fashion with both decentralized identity as well as any other sort of traditional sort of identity system. And I think it was, I think I really appreciated that somebody was trying to tackle the problem of trusted data sets and not just looking at how AI agents could authenticate against each other. I also want to acknowledge that this was one of the few projects that spoke about model context protocol and how when AI agents are discovering data sets or discovering other tools to use within their own flows, I think that's going to become an increasingly relevant sort of like question to ask as agents go and dynamically discover data sets and not just ones they have been given direct access to.
Yep, fantastic. And so without further ado, the final one that we have within this section is Check Deep, who were our ultimate winners. So yeah, congratulations, Vivian. It's fantastic to see. And I think as well, we then have been, I guess, discussing in the background and introducing you to other people in the ecosystem. So yeah, really, really impressed. And over to yourself to take us through Check Deep.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And about to show our case. Our solution actually is trying to solve a big problem today that is deep fakes that we have. We have today a lot of image, video that's not real. And in the opposite, how could I prove that media, that a photo or video is real? Something that is very difficult to believe. For example, if I catch some very strange situation or some crime, something like that, how can I prove that this crime, this video about this crime is real? And in the area that we have a lot of video that's created by AI. So I start showing the platform that is very straightforward, but the idea here is have a good solution for normal people or companies to prove data like video, photos, and audios. So I start sharing. Okay, so this solution uses check to generate the certification using the DIT and linked resource. We can start doing a simple upload. Here we have some limitations about the device orange. It must be from your own device, like your own computer or smartphone, to identify the metadata from that. So we are first analyzing the metadata from your device and then generate the certification using DIT, checked, and linked resource with this data. So let's start, for example, trying to uploading design that I got from Canva. So this is verified that is not original. This is not from my phone. This is not original data. This is something that I could change through Canva or some modification with AI or something like that. So now I'm not able to start the uploaded this. And now I get a video that I record on my own device on my computer. So this is a record directly from my computer, and automatically this get me a status authentic and some information about the video. If you test it in your smartphone, if you're using, for example, iPhone, you be show here that you use iPhone, for example, but for some reason it's not showing my system operation. Okay, so this we have the did checked it, and we can take this and share to verify that this media is authentic. So here we have some information related to the certification, and now I show you that we can verify in this step. We can got this and verified that this is actually real. So here we have some information about the date, the name, and a media profile that we can store in a decentralized data, for example, for that. This is just only a preview, not the entire media, but you can do that in the future, of course. So this is a form that we can prove that before the step we did a validation of the metadata that is real, because if you try to take our picture, send to another friend, or do some modification, the metadata will not persist. So the proof that we have the metadata. So this is the proof that the content is from the origin, from your own device. So I think that's it. It's very straightforward, but I think it's in a powerful platform for now and for the future is that the AI content, like videos, is becoming more and more similar to the original image today.
Congratulations again. And yeah, it was fantastic to see a mix of obviously building content credentials and doing that mix up front. Yeah, taking the metadata and shifting through also into, like, obviously content credentials are still very much like in their infancy. So to see a full implementation where like you do have all the DIDs, the DLRs are working, you're able to verify the content, you're able to like go down those extra steps. Really, really impressive. And I think what we also liked was how like nicely designed the demonstration was, as well as how easily you could take us through in terms of like, here's exactly what's going on, here's where it doesn't work, this is what you can kind of impute from that. And one quick aside as well, you may have seen it on our Twitter account, was one of our team had exactly this problem recently where he had a motorbike accident on a motorbike he just picked up, and the insurance company was challenging whether the images he submitted were doctored. And so something like this that he would have been able to prove at the right time would have been extremely powerful for him, which was really, really cool. So Anka, any thoughts from yourself as well?
I also love the fact that, like, you actually put some thought into what sort of business model could exist if this was turned into a product. I think, like it's always fantastic when people work on this, not just as a hackathon entry, but something that could, could sustainably be supported and launched. So I think that was great to see.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations. So we'll open the floor for a couple of questions, just in case. And then in the background, if we don't receive anything, we'll be moving on to the Verida bounty and the honorable mentions as well. So we'll see if any more of those come in. See lots of comments from Luke around, especially the content credentials, which is kind of his area of expertise. But if there are any others coming through, we'll hop onto those as well. In the absence of anything coming through, I'll move over to demonstrate Viscify. So without further ado, I'll shift over to them as well. Chrome tab, Viscify. Cool. Okay. So unfortunately, Viscify weren't able to attend, but they had put together, I'll just go back to the top here and just kind of anchor on here. So they were solving the problem of false credentials, or kind of fake education credentials. So really what they were kind of solving for was the issue where a lot of people are now faking university degrees, education certificates, and generally building up kind of false profiles of who they've worked with, where they've studied. Anka can go into more detail when we come off this, but we saw quite a few cases where people were, we've had people fraudulently pretend to work for Checked. We've also had people pretend to be other people to try and work for us with potentially really damaging kind of impact. So this is something kind of close to our heart. So the guys at Viscify built out a platform which issues credentials extremely quickly. Stores those credentials to a Verida wallet, which is how they won the Verida bounty. But they also then use AI to kind of interrogate those credentials and provide summaries. So like we can see here, lots of different credentials being issued. It's extremely easy to issue those out. And then as you can see on the Verida side, they have the ability to request credentials from an individual and then kind of share that data out as appropriate. So this has been really, really fantastic to see kind of the full journey being thought out. So not just issuing credentials, verifying credentials, but how does this work on the individual side? How do you make that intuitive? And similarly then also on the linking into Telegram to see if we can get any more information from an individual to just provide additional context for a candidate coming in. So effectively, the whole of Viscify is a hiring and credential issuance platform for effectively anyone looking to hire or also manage credentials for people as part of a team. So again, like as you can see throughout this demo, the quality of the engineering is extremely high. The usage of both Checked and Verida was really, really strong, and hence why they won the Verida track and the Verida bounty. I think the only reason they didn't place higher in the other tracks on the Check side was just the novelty of the other solutions in terms of really having novel combinations of decentralized ID and credentials, whereas Viscify were obviously kind of using AI to interrogate credentials, but they maybe weren't as novel as the others. That being said, as we kind of step through this, the UI, the level of engineering, and also the usage of credentials throughout solves a genuine problem. And the actual kind of documentation, everything surrounding it was fantastic, including this video for anyone who wants to go any further. So yeah, Anka, any other thoughts on Viscify?
Probably the most sophisticated UX that we had in terms of any of the submissions, and I think a very good implementation of where it makes sense to use the Verida Vault as well.
Absolutely. So I think we had a little bit of time. Ooh. Oh, sorry. I'm getting double audio somehow. Sorry, there we go, fixed it. Yeah, so I think we're coming towards the end. I believe we had a few minutes for questions in case anyone did have any. I don't believe we've got any more questions coming through, but we'll just kind of give it a couple of minutes as we kind of close this out. But I think probably the biggest thing throughout all this, and really it is repeating what we said at the top of the call, is really blown away by some of the submissions. Again, we were expecting some very cool stuff. I don't know if we were necessarily expecting entries as strong, as polished as the ones that we've seen. And probably the biggest takeaway, or not necessarily takeaway for me, but one of the biggest things for me going forwards is the potential of all of these ideas to turn into genuine products and commercial opportunities, because I don't think there's any of these solutions that we've seen that are kind of that can't be turned into solutions. I think they've all got incredible business potential, and I think that was what was so heartening, is they weren't just kind of novelty for novelty's sake, but we're solving genuine problems and really kind of productizing. So yeah, any final thoughts from yourself, Hanko? Otherwise, I think we're at the point of wrapping up.
I honestly can't wait for the next hackathon and see how these ideas and other ideas sort of evolve. But no, it was fantastic to look at just the level of, like, you know, polish and quality that we got through in the high quality submissions, and it was definitely a tough job judging and going through all of them, as I'm sure you found as well.
Well, actually, I was going to say probably my final remarks are a big thank you to yourself, Tassos, Alex, Eduardo, and also the other judges. So those from VA Virality, from Verida, from Sprite, because yeah, there was a lot to get through, and then I think the initial problem was just narrowing it down to the really strong ones. And then it became a very different problem of how do we start differentiating between a lot of very, very strong entries. So yeah, big thanks to yourselves, because yeah, otherwise I don't think we'd have got through it in the time that we did. And again, a final big congratulations to, in ascending order, so on the agentic economy and AI agents track, Snails, then Kith, then Hovey and Ident won. And then on the content credential side, again, in ascending order, Credible, Trusty Bytes, and then Check Deep. And finally, on the Verida bounty, Viscify, all of whom were fantastic. So a big thank you to both the judges and everyone who submitted. And to Anchor's point, I'm very much looking forward to both the follow-up and on the submissions that we already have, and the next time we run a hackathon, because it's really been an incredible experience. So thanks for all who participated, and a special kind of congratulations again to those who win. And thank you for Eduardo for being our able host in the background for this kind of webinar. So yeah, thank you, and see you at the next one.
Thanks all. Bye.
Peace.